To end suffering, one must awaken to the objective truth of how things are beyond mind control. The problem is not outside oneself. However, the tendency is always blame others, blame the government, blame the occultists, etc. Suffering is due to not knowing about and therefore not living in accordance with natural law, not standing up for what's right and moral, not understanding one's sovereignty, and not respecting the sovereignty of others. It does not seem wrong when everyone has the same misconception of reality and believes something untrue, even something patently absurd. When a false or illogical idea is constantly repeated and reinforced by nearly everyone, it really occurs to most people to question it. Most people become incapable of questioning their assumptions because, over time, they become solidified in their minds as a given fact. An assumption that does not need a rational basis and does not need to be analysed or reconsidered if everyone knows it to be true. Each person assumes a misrepresentation of reality to be true because to imagine otherwise would be unthinkable. All the respectable, well-known, educated people on the radio, TV, internet, media, they all believe and propagate the untruths. What business does one average individual have in doubting something that, my gosh, everyone seems to know is true and be comfortable as accepting as truth? There is a war of consciousness going on. If you can control what a person's consciousness is, then you can convince them of absolutely anything, all very nonsense and ideologies that are not true. You can sever a person's connection to the Creator, which is the highest level. People cannot be controlled at the level of spirit, and any attempt at physical control has a time limit, as evident in history. The most effective control is at the level of one's mind. To influence the behaviours and decision-making processes of the people following the agenda, believing that their thoughts and their agenda is the correct agenda instead of something that's programmed. We have been manipulated, and the way to combat the war on consciousness is to understand how we have been mind-controlled. The way out of the mess we are in collectively is to work through it and undo mind control. There are lessons on the spiritual path, freedoms and progress will be made when the lessons have been learned. However, mind control prevents us from advancing on the spiritual path, being moral, and rising above servitude. Hiding knowledge does not abide by natural law and is creating chaos in our society. No secret society or intelligence community should own knowledge. No one should. Those who withhold spiritual knowledge are engaged in sorcery, regardless of their excuses. We will see lasting positive change in society when occult knowledge is freely available to the masses. Over millennia, rulers have perfected techniques of mind control and are employing these techniques with remarkable success. Nevertheless, our Creator has given us fundamental inherent rights that were given to us even before we were born. One of these rights, under natural law, is free will. We have the right to make our own choices, and we do not have the right to take choices away from others. Only by understanding choices can we become protected from methods of mind control. Unfortunately, most people don't know about natural law and therefore do not know about humanity's innate rights and sovereignty. Furthermore, Most people do not realize that there are consequences for breaking natural law, and that these consequences have a delayed reaction. Most people have yet to understand self-ownership, in other words, sovereignty, let alone practice it in their own lives. Self-ownership seems like a crazy idea to some people because of heavy mind control. Mind control is done through rhetoric and the education system and is not truth. Mind controllers will get us to point the finger at others and blame others, never to point the finger at ourselves and look inwards. To look at ourselves and admit that we have allowed our sovereignty to be taken. We are sovereign, and we should rule ourselves, not the tyrants who use us for their selfish purposes. Therefore, we should examine ourselves and admit fault for our collective situation. This information is for those who realize something is wrong in society and want answers, not for those who want to be victims or in content with the scraps thrown from the table of our masters.